Hola, soy Armando Pascual, director de Articity, tu sueño hecho realidad. Y vamos con un siguiente video en el cual ahora vamos a ver una locura. Decidimos hacer un trabajo mixto para que precisamente veas las diferencias. No va a ser simplemente un trabajo de fashion o de moda muy natural, sino que Mika va a dividir el rostro y nos va a hacer una cosa aquí medio especial en donde una parte va a estar muy cargada y otra parte va a estar más natural. Así es que no te pierdas este video. Seguimos aquí con la preciosísima y talentosísima Mika. No te vayas, en un momento empezamos. Pues vamos a empezar con este video, pero sin antes no dejar de presentar a nuestra modelo. Ella es Saraí. Saraí, explícanos qué haces, qué te gusta hacer.
Hago un poco de cosplay.
Ajá.
Y también me gusta un poco maquillar, pero pues no sé hacerlo tan bien.
Bueno, pues ya va a aprender aquí con estos tutoriales. Abajo te vamos a dejar el link por si quieres seguirla de lo que está haciendo en sus trabajos de cosplay, que de hecho vimos una fotografía al inicio del video, pero pues si quieres saber más de ella, ahí va a estar. Bueno, Mika, what you do now?
Okay, so I'm only gonna work on one side of her face to show you a more full coverage makeup using ultra foundation, maybe a little bit of derma, and different techniques to get a still nice finish with full covering makeup.
Excellent, perfectly.
Okay, so the first thing you can do is check the skin, see if it's oily, if it's dry, combination skin, any of that, or sometimes you have beautiful skin where you don't need to do anything.
Of course.
So depending on what you're working with, you can prime the skin with different primers. For example, Ultra Underbase for more dry skin, Perfect Matte for very oily skin, or the HD Micro Primer for also combination skin, or if you want to reduce a little bit of the texture and the shine.
Or Invisible Matte when the skin is very perfect.
Of course.
No?
Yeah. So sometimes when you're working with very heavy foundations, it can help to just leave the skin as it is if you don't work with extremes. So she has nice skin, she doesn't appear to be very oily or very dry. So I can get away with not priming at all. Just make sure the skin is clean so the makeup will stick better. Because remember, the more layers you add, the more prone it is to moving, creasing, creating texture. So with heavier foundations, if you don't have very dry skin, very oily skin, and so on, you can get away with just using a foundation and not a primer. Okay. The primer is just for evening out the complexion and the skin.
Perfect. Bien, pues otro tip que nos está dando Mika, ya lo vimos aquí, estudiar la piel, como en algún momento vimos cuando hablé del video de los primers, pero precisamente en ocasiones no se necesita, simplemente es ver que la piel esté limpia. Aquí estamos aprendiendo ese punto, el hecho de, igual como lo vimos en el video de Derma, que si no lo has visto, aquí te dejamos el link en la pantalla, que estuvo genial la cobertura del tatuaje, pero precisamente uno de los puntos importantes es ¿cuál? No ir agregando tantísimas capas, porque si no podemos empezar a acentuar pues defectos, arruguitas, etcétera.
Okay, so I'm using Ultra Foundation Cream, which is a foundation that works for most people actually. Yes. Because it's right in between, you know, the more soft textures, but it's not as heavy as CB Paint Stick, for example. So when you're not sure what to use, you can always go for Ultra Foundation Cream.
Foundation, yes.
Also, when it comes to reflection and the finish it has, it's also right in between. It will give you a glowing satin finish. It's not too matte, not too shiny, so the perfect thing in between. Works for oily skin, works for dry skin. For oily skin, I would just use a little bit more powder or maybe prime with Perfect Matte. But with this foundation, you pretty much can't go wrong. So I have some colors here that I'm going to use for her. And the way to test if the color works, if you're not sure, is to take a little bit of the color, starting in the center of the face and dragging a line to her neckline. So you see if the color works for the center of the face and also her body. Because not always is the face and the body the same color.
Sometimes we have 5 colors in the face.
Exactly. So you need to choose one that is, you know, the best match. So I think this one is pretty good.
A ver, miramos acá. Eso. Perfecto.
Of course, you can
Sí, sí,
always
sí.
mix.
Of course.
A little too bright, but we're getting there. You see? So I can really see what works with her body, what works with her face.
Exactly.
And once you've chosen your color, you can remove this, or if you're pretty close, you can just blend it in. Because since these are cream colors, as long as you do not powder them, you can still work them into the skin,
Of course.
blend them, adjust. So,
Bien, punto muy importante. En ocasiones de repente no sabemos verdaderamente qué color usar o qué prueba. Bueno, aquí estamos viendo, nos acaba de enseñar una forma de hacer esto, haciendo esa diagonal en donde no solamente vemos el color que macha con el rostro, sino precisamente también con el cuello, lo que va a ser entonces un más perfecto. Y obviamente, como lo hemos visto, ya lo sabemos en el video de las bases, siempre los maquillajes base crema tienen la ventaja de que mientras no se ha sellado con polvo translúcido, siempre se puede seguir trabajando en ellos.
so I'm removing a little bit of the excess
Ok,
because I still want this foundation to be, you know, a very thin layer. And if I have a lot of colors underneath, which I don't
Okay.
actually need,
ok.
I'm just gonna take it off a little bit. And then we can start. So, I'm using a flat brush like this. And I'm just gonna smooth the product on. I'm not blending it in yet because I'm gonna use a different sponge or brush for it. So I'm working from the center of the face
Ahora sí, si
down.
quieres derechita, mi amor. Ella ya trabaja, eso es.
Be very careful around the under eye area. Just pat, don't drag too much because this area is very sensitive.
Ujú.
This, and you can see it already covers a lot. So with this, you don't even need a concealer most of the times. Remember to drag it down and go with the growth of the tiny hair we have on our face.
Ok,
Otherwise, you can add texture.
ok.
Just like this. And then what I'm gonna do is take a small blending brush, like this, and I'm gonna blend in the product.
Vean qué poca cantidad está usando Mika del producto. Realmente, bueno, Ultra Foundation también, en mi caso, es una de mis bases preferidos, el Cream Ultra Foundation. Está usando muy poca cantidad de producto. De repente nos queremos ir siempre con usar demasiado y no, tenemos que ir usando poco a poco. Más vale ir poco a poco que poner mucha cantidad. Vemos aquí lo que puso y ahora está usando una brocha limpia para justamente empezar a mezclar todas esas zonas que acaba de trabajar. Recuerda que estamos haciendo una locura, por eso no está trabajando el otro lado, está trabajando un solo lado porque nos va a mostrar dos acabados diferentes.
So with this technique, you can also really get into the crevices of the nose, under the eye, so you have a lot of control. And also, since this is natural hair, it will absorb some of the oil that is in the foundation and make it last longer again, make it less, you know, shiny.
Ok,
So with this technique, you can really buff the product into the skin and create a very nice, sheer, even layer with a lot of coverage at the same time.
bien, aquí Mika está usando este pincel justamente, ya lo escucharon, por una condición en particular para que justamente el maquillaje todavía dé mejores resultados, puede entrar con él a diferentes áreas y para que tenga mayor duración.
So as you can see, we have a lot of coverage right away, and all of the little spots she has are already covered. I might add a little bit of color
Ajá.
to even that out, but pretty much right away we have a very nice even base.
Excellent.
I also take the rest of my brush and run it across her eye just a little bit.
Fíjense, solamente con lo que está quedando, lo que absorbió en determinado momento la brocha, ahora está aquí dando en la parte del párpado. For don't have so heavy because this is the very special skin.
Exactly. Also here, foundation tends to crease.
Exactly.
But if you have a little discoloration on your eyelids, you need to even that out a little bit, otherwise your blending will appear patchy. So just a little bit.
Hay maquillistas que prefieren no poner absolutamente nada y algunos que recomiendan no poner Creo que esto es un justo intermedio, lo que te queda en la brocha para precisamente emparejar. Vamos a voltear un poquito, Saraí, del otro lado. Eso es, ahí pueden apreciar mucho mejor el trabajo que está haciendo Mika. Vean con qué poca cantidad de producto. Por eso también me gusta mucho Ultra Foundation, porque en realidad usas casi nada para poder cubrir. Algunas pequeñas imperfecciones también ya quedaron ahí cubiertas. Dix también.
I'm also adding a little bit of a warmer tone already to her cheek.
Okay.
Just to warm her face up and to give her some definition. It's not like your typical contour where you're just like putting a dark stripe.
Of course.
It's just for a little bit more freshness and warmth. So, same brush, warmer tone, and I work it really nicely into the brush so I don't have too much product.
Okay.
You can also use a tissue
and
like that.
Take off the excess.
Take off the excess so you see exactly what you get.
Excellent.
And then I'm just gonna blend it onto her cheekbone and up, not down, because this is a warm color. It acts more like a blush and a little bit of freshness, not as a shadow underneath.
Of course.
Still, it will give you definition. And for example, if you have a more rounded face like I do also, don't contour, like this, don't contour in that shape, because it will make your face look rounder.
Of course.
Even it will make it even wider. So instead, go like this. This way you have like the triangle shape in the center of the face, which makes your face look more narrow and more like a supermodel.
Exactly. Bueno, ahí estamos viendo mucho el juego de las luces y sombras. Chicos, no recuerdo si ya grabamos el video de luces y sombras. Creo que no, ¿verdad? Vamos a grabar y te voy a dar un especial de luces y sombras para que aprendas justamente el truco que te acaba de decir, porque eso es jugar con la luz y las sombras.
You already see it's starting to warm the face up. It's regulating the skin tone a little bit, gives her more freshness and also a little bit shape without having contour. Because sometimes contour, depending on the light, can just look like a brown weird stripe on your face. So we don't want that.
Of course.
So this is a more natural approach for every day if you still want full covering makeup without looking too much like you're going on stage.
Sí, recordarán, por ejemplo, aquí te dejo el video por si quieres ir a ver nada más las diferencias. Cuando hicimos el trabajo más como para el zombie, cómo empezamos a hacer verdaderamente cortes. Aquí está trabajando con la forma del rostro, que es algo de lo que vamos a aprender posteriormente. Vamos a hablar, o te voy a hablar de visajismo, donde vamos a usar todo eso de las luces y las sombras. Y aquí es justamente la técnica que está usando en mente, o que más bien tiene en mente Mika, porque está logrando manejar la forma de su propio rostro para todavía hacerlo lucir mejor.
Also, do not forget the nose. This is not about changing the shape of the nose, it's about giving definition. It always depends on what you do the makeup for. If you have a lot of light, like photo shooting, stage, something like this, the light will hit all of your face and will make it appear very flat, because your natural shadows are just gone.
Of course.
So that's when I take a little bit, just the rest that's on my brush. I connect it to the brow bone, just on the sides of the nose, very, very gently, and under the nose as well. Give a little bit of a shadow. Be careful that your tone isn't too warm, otherwise it will be very visible and will look weird. But just that is enough to give a little bit of a definition to your face without changing the features.
Excellent.
Okay, I'm just gonna blend this a little bit more so it works a little bit better with the overall picture. Okay, so you can see.
Excellent.
Looks very fresh.
Very natural.
But still full coverage.
Of course.
Yeah. So, also sometimes, if you have a lot of redness or irregularities on your skin and you're having suddenly full coverage foundation, you look a little bit pale. Because all of the natural color that you usually have and that you're used to seeing is gone.
Of course.
So you can add that back with that, warmer tone, also with blush and a little bit of bronzer. So don't worry about that too much. It will come back.
Okay.
All right.
Bueno, esos son tips importantes. Velos anotando. Usar precisamente esos tonos cálidos va a hacer que regresen A veces se nos olvida como maquillistas el punto, o a la persona que se está maquillando y se quiere ver como muy pareja, y no siempre hay que dar todos esos contornos, lo que va a permitir que la persona se vea muchísimo mejor. Naturalidad, ahora es muy natural, eso es parte del look de lo que se está usando mucho, la naturalidad. Obviamente hay de todo, como explicábamos hace un momento, y va a depender también el trabajo que haces, ya sea para cine, teatro, televisión, pasarela o para la vida diaria.
So now I'm taking a little bit of Dermacolor.
Está usando Derma.
And I'm just brushing it over the little irregularities she has there.
Okay.
Just small ones. And I'm using Dermacolor because it gives me the most coverage with the least amount of product. Also, because it contains more wax and less oil, it doesn't move as much. So you can do this before your foundation or after, it doesn't really matter.
Depende the makeup artist.
Yeah, I like to do it after because sometimes I don't even need it. Sometimes the foundation is enough to cover everything,
Yes,
and then
of
I can
course.
skip a step.
Yes.
So that's what I'm doing here.
Esa es otra de las cuestiones. Tenemos el punto de que de repente también nos llegan a la tienda y me preguntan, bueno, pero ¿por qué tantas bases? Ahora estás viendo el por qué. Cada base puede tener un propósito, tiene un uso diferente. Como aquí Mika lo menciona, y si a mí me gusta hacerlo después porque a veces con el puro Ultra Foundation ya prácticamente cubrí todo, pero sin embargo necesito un poco de derma, lo pongo, pero vean que son cantidades muy pequeñas porque realmente son de imperfecciones muy ligeras.
Okay, I also use a little bit of Derma for that outer part of her eye. A lot of times we tend to have, little tears and little redness in the corner of the eye, or just like a little shadow. She doesn't really have a lot of under eye shadow, so I don't need to conceal with her. Also, since with this side we're going for a more heavy eye makeup, I plan to blend down a lot. So if you already know what you're gonna do, you can skip putting concealer underneath the eye because it's gonna be covered in eyeshadow anyway. It's also a good tip if you have heavy under eye shadows. Just make a beautiful smoky eye out of it.
Okay.
Work with it, not against it.
Okay, of course.
So you won't add texture.
Sí, es importante pensar siempre también en eso. Hay que tomar las ventajas que ya tiene la persona. Cuando veamos lo del bisaquismo vamos a aprender que es una técnica que debemos de tener en mente, pero ya no es con la misma finalidad con la que fue dada a conocer, en donde se pensaba que los rostros tenían que ser de una forma específica. Ahora es al revés, ahora tenemos que sacar justamente, saber esas formas, pero para sacar el mayor provecho dentro de la misma belleza y forma y diferencia que tiene la persona.
All right. So, if you have someone with very dry skin, do not use the technique with the brush, otherwise all of the dry patches, you remove them or they gonna show up a lot.
Okay.
If you have someone with dry patches, use a sponge and just press it in. So all of the dry little spots, you press into the skin again to create a nice even base and not texture and dryness.
Okay. Otra cosa importante del por qué saber cuando la piel está seca, cuando la piel tiene mucho aceite. Esas son cosas importantes que deben de saberse como maquillista porque nos va a dar diferentes tips.
Okay. So, since we're working with cream foundations, we need to set them in place, otherwise they will move. Because remember, cream foundations do not dry or set on their own.
Perfect.
I still want to keep that natural glow that this foundation gives us. So what we can do, we can use shimmery powders for the sides of the face, the high points of the face, to still have that luminosity, and matte powders for all of the areas where shine makes us look sweaty.
Great.
So that's what I'm gonna do.
Perfecto. Bueno, vamos a ver ahora entonces la aplicación.
Okay, so for the powder parts, I will use two different powders or two different versions since I want to keep the luminosity. For the matte parts, I'm just gonna use translucent powder, which is pretty much the easiest powder we have.
It's the most common powder.
Exactly, you can use it for anything. You can use it for setting, for baking, for retouching,
Exactly.
anything. It's a loose powder, it comes in different colors, so you will find your own shade somewhere. But this color, like the translucent one, you can use on anybody that is more on the paler side. If you're too tan, If you're going darker and warmer in your tone, I would suggest choosing something that has a warmer undertone.
9 maybe, or no, or
Exactly,
5
or
maybe.
starting with TL4,
Exactly.
which is a little bit more yellow underlay. So I'm going to use this.
Otra de las razones por las que hay diferentes tonalidades de polvo, ya hablamos de los polvos también. Y bueno, aquí estamos aprendiendo cómo ella está sacando el punto de, en unas partes voy a poner un polvo mate y en otras voy a poner otro tipo de polvo para sacar partido nuevamente.
And also here we have different choices. So if the skin is not very oily, I can use just a powder brush and just dab it on the areas that I want mattified. But if the skin is very oily, a powder puff is the better choice.
Yes, because
So-
it's more heavy.
Exactly, you get a lot more powder, and also the material of the sponge will suck up a
Absorb.
little bit of oil.
Of course.
So when I use the powder puff, I really work the powder into the puff and then do this
Okay.
to get rid of the excess. So like that. Then this shape is great because you can have your finger and you can reach all of the little crevices. Again, under eye area and so on. And you can just gently powder all of the areas that you want to have mattified, which most of the time will be this area next to your nose, the upper lip, because if that looks sweaty, it really looks, almost gross. We don't want that. Center of the forehead,
Of course.
a little bit on the chin. So pretty much the inner triangle, and also right here on the eyebrow, on the front. It's okay if you have shine in the center of the nose or along the bridge of the nose, but if you have shine here on the eyebrow, this looks like you're sweating a lot.
Exactly.
So we powder that. We also set the under eye area in place. And also this part of the face under the contour, this also should be mattified because this can also look very greasy if it's too much shine. So same technique, going like this. You can also work it in with your palm and then you just press it in. And you see I don't create like a white powdery layer, it's just enough to mattify and set it in place. And I don't want any more than that.
Bien, acabas de aprender otra técnica. Yo cuando usé el maquillaje base crema te enseñé que una de las formas que también se tiene es frotando la borla consigo mismo. Y acabas de aprender aquí otra en donde más bien le quito el exceso. Yo lo meto dentro de la borla. Cada quien trabaja diferente, pero eso es lo bonito, aprender las diferentes técnicas y que tú las pruebes y decidas cuál es la mejor para ti o para la ocasión en que también estás trabajando, porque puede ser que uses varias.
If you want to add more coverage, because maybe your skin is very, uneven, maybe if you have skin problems, discoloration,
Exactly.
and you want even more coverage, you can add dual finish as your powder, because
Okay.
this will give you a second layer of coverage,
Of
pretty
course.
much, and will also mattify and set your foundation in place.
Excelente. Bueno, como ya hemos dicho en otras ocasiones cuando hablamos de las bases, el Dual Finish realmente es una base en polvo, pero como lo comenta ella, si necesitas, porque justamente hay más descoloraciones, puedes usarla. Entonces vemos cómo los maquillajes que son polvos, que son bases, pueden también usarse como si fuera el polvo.
Okay, so now for the parts we want to keep glossy. I will use Glamour Glow.
Ok.
So Glamour Glow are powders that you can use for shimmery blush, for shimmery highlight, bronzing. You can also use them as an eyeshadow, pretty much anything. They give you a very, very soft shine. And the thing is with these, if you polish them in, you can increase the shine. So you don't have to add product if you want more gloss. Just polish it, and then you will have that, Instagram glowy effect.
Ok.
So since we have skin tones also in these palettes, I use these to set these areas.
En ocasiones he tenido comentarios de algunos maquillistas que me dicen, no, yo ya no uso esto, ya no uso aquello, solamente se han de repente concentrado en una base. Bueno, aquí vemos algo completamente diferente a esa opinión. No digo que sea incorrecta la que me comentó ese maquillista, Pero aquí vemos cómo Mika está usando ahora otro tipo de bases que tenemos que tienen cierto nivel de brillo para justamente incrementar esas zonas que ella quiere que luzcan más, que tengan más resalte. Volvemos al juego en cierta medida de luz y sombra. Entre más brilla, eso más resalta.
So this will pretty much set our foundation without losing the glow. So when she turns her face, when the light hits, you will still see that reflection coming through. And on top of that, we can start with contour, with blush, another layer of highlight, anything like that. So I will add a little bit of dual finish on top. I pretty much always do this because especially this tone here will give you a lot of warmth and, you know, that sun-kissed look.
Okay.
Also, you can do a little contour with it. Again, the one that goes up, not the one that goes down. And since they are face powders, it's easier to use them, because if you do that with our blushes or with our eyeshadows, these are heavily pigmented, so it can be hard for a beginner to adjust the amount with these.
Yes.
This is a little easier.
Excellent. Bien, ya vimos el punto, vemos la diferencia. Usar una sombra tiene más pigmentación, por lo tanto te puedes pasar más fácilmente. Sin embargo, usando el Dual Finish tienes mucho mayor control.
And if you're a professional makeup artist and you have a client that looks into the mirror all the time, sometimes you want to do the eye makeup first because you have, you know, glimmers or loose pigments or stuff like that.
Okay.
But still, for my clients that are not used to wearing makeup, I will give them a light base first, so they feel comfortable when looking in the mirror, so they don't feel naked.
Okay, okay.
In this case, I do not powder, because I can touch up any fallout or stuff that comes easier than with a powdered base. But I will still give them a little bit of color, a little bit of contour, so they look nice and fresh and feel comfortable.
Excellent.
Just also adding a little bit of warmth underneath to give her, you know, that contour look. Here again, I'm just patting.
Vean cómo está usando verdaderamente, o sea, usa todo, pero con cantidades medidas y realmente como justas, exactas, para que no te estés pasando. Es un trabajo de ir como la restauración de los cuadros, vas capa por capa, capa por capa.
Okay, and if you still want to add a powder contour, I can recommend this palette, because here you have, for pale people like me, you have this tone, which is a nice contour.
Of course.
For more deep, darker. I'm a ghost.
White. Yeah.
That's my skin color, that's my contour. Yeah, but all of these shades here, they work very nice as blushers and bronzing powders or contours for more deeper skin tones. And of course, you can do more natural eyeshadow looks, pretty much anything with just one palette. So for all of your professionals, this one is the one for you.
Excellent.
Just giving her a little more contour. Since this is the heavy side, we can go a little heavier. Like that. Remember, we still have to add blush later on, but most of the time I do blush last, because the blush is not the star of the makeup, it's the lips or the eyes. Okay. So I will adjust the color of the blush to my lipstick or to my eyeshadow color.
Okay, okay.
Because sometimes if I just go with the skin tones, I have different options that will work, but maybe it will not look nice with the lipstick color I choose later on. So blush is pretty much always my last step once I see what the colors are going to be.
Okay.
Still, for this purpose, I'm gonna add a little blush, just to show you.
Okay.
And here also, I love to use the Glamour Glows, because these three colors here are beautiful blush colors.
Of course.
And also, all of these work for every skin tone. Because they're right in between. There are, you know, the color is maybe warm, but the shimmer is cold. So you have that balance.
The balance, okay.
Exactly. So, just a little bit. Same brush, because it's gonna melt into each other anyway, so you can take the same
Quita el
brush.
exceso y entonces va directamente ahí.
Just give a little bit of freshness. And this is the orange, this is the Juicy Moon, which, if you apply it just very lightly, will give you very fresh and youthful.
And natural, of course.
Exactly. And since this is also part of her natural skin tone, no matter what I put on later, this might still work. But I can still add different colors on top to adjust it to, you know, the look.
Excellent.
So, just to finish this up real quick, what you can also do if it's just about foundation and maybe a little bit mascara, you can use your blush color, close your eyes, and just run it through the crease. Like that. Open your eyes. Give a little bit of mascara, a little bit of your contour tone, and that could be a finished look. You know,
Yes.
just add mascara, add a little bit of gloss.
And
Done.
very natural.
Exactly,
Okay.
but still full coverage.
Ahí la ven. Excellent.
Okay. First side done.
Bueno, pues lo siento mucho, pero te voy a dejar picado. Así es, la próxima semana va a continuar este maquillaje. Ya lo que viste hasta ahorita te está dando ciertas cosas que quizá nunca habías pensado, ¿verdad? Efectivamente, esa es la ventaja de conocer cómo trabajan otros maquilladores. Por eso es que Mika vino aquí con nosotros a Arty City, tu sueño hecho realidad, para que justamente veas estas nuevas técnicas y tú decidas qué hacer. Abajo recuerda que está el link para que entres a nuestra página y compres todo lo que necesitas, o simplemente ven a visitarnos, va a ser más divertido que todo lo veas aquí. No compres todo en línea, también ven aquí a la tienda y conócenos. Así es que te veo la próxima semana.
Maquillaje como en Hollywood, que es la fuente de la juventud. Como estrella tú serás, bellísima y sensual. Arty City 35476-400. Llámanos ya.